Hi, John Jaronczyk, the President of the Sheriff Officers Association, the union for the correction officers, about 1,000 of them who work in the facility here.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and attending our press conference. We're here today to try to address some serious health and safety issues that have been occurring inside the facility and have been occurring for quite some time. And we're here to put possibly some explanations on what some of these incidents have happened. Now, since January 2010, just over 2 years' time, there's been 5 inmate suicides inside this facility. There's been 1 inmate homicide, and there's been 1 other inmate death that was related to a medical condition inside the facility. Now, these are very startling, very troubling statistics for the Nassau County Correctional Center, and ones that the members of the Nassau County Sheriff Officers Association take very serious. One only needs to look at some of the decisions that Sheriff Sposato has made and county executives have made regarding this facility to get a clearer picture of why some of these incidents might have occurred. Sheriff Sposato has reduced supervision inside this facility, creating dangerous and unsafe working conditions for all visitors, officers, and inmates alike inside that facility. In January, 5 days after we had an inmate homicide inside this facility, he demoted 30 frontline supervisors, 30 corporals he demoted, to achieve necessary budgetary savings under the order of County Executive Mangano. He's also eliminated and redeployed many other supervisory positions inside this jail and putting more pressure on staff to maintain control and to provide a healthy, safe environment inside that facility. He also has members of the Sheriff's Emergency Response Team go out on details without a supervisor. Unfortunately, in a correctional facility, when you try to do more with less, people can get hurt or killed when you keep trying to stretch the supervision aspect. Another reason that things have been occurring inside this jail is County Executive Mangano just last year privatized the inmate medical care, initially saving the county $7 million, but putting the lives of inmates and staff at risk. Unfortunately, any money that the county saved, that $7 million last year, we've had 7 deaths inside this facility since January 2010. That money is going to be paid out tenfold through lawsuits and legal settlements, based on Sheriff Sposato and County Executive Mangano's poor decisions. The county's current medical provider, Armor, which took over in June of 2011, is not prepared to handle medical emergencies inside this facility. During the last incident that happened last week, during the last jail suicide, medical staff stood by as correctional officers, performed CPR and other basic life support for over 25 minutes until the ambulance came. Current medical staff is not equipped to respond to any medical emergencies. They routinely respond without any life-saving equipment, intubation kits, suction, backboard stretchers, oxygen. These are all tools that we need to give anyone the best chance to survival. He's also cut annual in-service training in the facility. Now, back in 2000 through about 2008, all correctional officers attended 40 hours annual in-service training. That was mandated by the Department of Justice. That was on all courses like suicide awareness, CPR, first aid. There were a lot of correctional classes in there, supervisory classes. Now, in 2009, Sheriff Sposato cut 1 day away, down to 32 hours. Just this last year, in 2012, he removed another 2 days. So now we went from 40 hours, what we used to have, down to 16 hours of in-service training. You know, interesting enough, some of the classes they removed the suicide awareness class. In 2012's curriculum, they do not have a CPR and a first aid class. Our officers are volunteer firemen, our officers are first responders out on the street. They responded to this incident last week and provided the basic medical care. But not all of them are volunteer firemen and first responders. That is the job of medical to do that, but we do need that training inside the facility, and Sheriff Sposato has reduced that training. As a matter of fact, just since this last incident last week, Sheriff Sposato, without any input from the union or without any knowledge, he just cut all in-service training for the month of March, presumably as a cost-saving measure, but that is as a direct result after the incident that happened. So now the officers that were scheduled to go to in-service training, he stopped them. County Executive Mangano and Sheriff Spozzado's current practice of reducing inmate medical care, not having the proper life-saving equipment respond to the medical emergencies, and reducing the inmate supervision of the officers and the inmates by reducing the frontline supervisors and redeploying all the other supervisors is creating a dangerous situation inside this jail. And unfortunately will lead to more tragic incidents as well as increased injuries to officers and inmates alike unless it is changed. Now this executive board that is standing alongside with me, we're ready and willing to meet with the county executive and the sheriff to discuss solutions to the overall conditions inside this facility. We have addressed the legislature 6 times since October, talking about the increased need for inmate medical care, increased supervision of officers and inmates, increased training, to no avail. We have made every effort to try to improve the overall working conditions inside this jail. Unfortunately, County Executive Mangano and Sheriff Spozzado, they have other plans and they're unavailable. There's an old saying that Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Well, in Nassau County, it's a little different. Today, it's Mangano golfs while Nassau burns. And he's taking his sheriff with him along for the ride to caddy for him. In Nassau County, after hundreds of employees were laid off, supervisors at this correctional center were demoted for budgetary reasons. In the middle of an unprecedented fiscal abyss, public safety being further threatened, but they're risking to close the 4 precincts. County Executive Mangano decides it's a good time to hold a golf fundraiser down in Myrtle Beach, a golfing hiatus with his buddies to raise money for his career in the future. With questionable decision-making like that, you know why this correctional center is in shambles, and you know why the county is on the verge of the abyss. That's all I have for the statement, and I'd like to open up for questions from the media if anyone has any questions.
What do you propose to stop the deaths of inmates inside the facility? What do you propose to stop the deaths of the inmates inside the facility?
What do I propose to stop the deaths?
Yes.
Well, the officers respond to the incidents right away. What the officers need, they need their in-service training that they were accustomed to getting, suicide awareness class. It's about prevention. But also when there is a medical emergency, the officers need the response from the private medical company to respond with the proper tools and equipment. That's what they need for a chance of survival.
You mean so the contract with Armor, that's a bad contract, you think?
I don't know about the contract with Armor. I know they're saving $7 million. When we had the health care provided from the Nassau University Medical Center, they responded with the appropriate first aid and the appropriate equipment to handle those situations. In the past 2 incidents, that has not happened.
What were the circumstances surrounding the latest suicide?
The circumstances? Well, that's still being under investigation. I will tell you the officers found him immediately, responded and acted appropriately, performed all basic life support and performed CPR for over 25 minutes until he was transported into the ambulance. The correctional officers did that, and they performed admirably and went above and beyond.
Can you tell us what method the inmate used?
I believe it was by hanging, by a sheet.
The state recently issued a lot of recommendations on how to prevent these tragedies in the future. Is there any indication that the sheriff is working on that?
You would have to ask the sheriff. Unfortunately, he's down in South Carolina right now on a golfing fundraiser.
Is there also a feeling that sheriff's officers are trained as well as far as looking for?
Absolutely. You know, correctional officers spend many hours inside this facility, and medical emergencies could happen to us as much as they can happen to the inmates. And we want to make sure that the inmates are protected. We also want to make sure that if an officer or a visitor in this facility is having a medical emergency, that there is the appropriate response to handle the situation. And right now, that has not happened.
In the 2010 annual report, the commissioner talked about beefing up instances in which they can identify suicide attempts, and they put out new training regulations. Can you say if any of that was used?
I will tell you, in the 2012 training curriculum for all officers and supervisors in this facility, there's no suicide awareness class, there's no CPR, and there's no first aid class.
And in terms of them identifying inmates who could possibly attempt suicide, there's supposed to be a 25-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute period where they're constantly checking on an inmate. Does that happen?
Correct. There are different areas in this jail. There's different levels of observation. There's constant observation with one-on-one status where there's an officer constantly sign in front of the inmate cell.